This year, it's all about the new. New decade, new faces, new expectations. And as the Cowboys are on their quest for 6, they got the same dream. Where would this team go? There's no limits to what they can accomplish. So with a fresh perspective and a new direction, the 2020 Dallas Cowboys are determined to find greatness. And it all starts this offseason, right here on The Blitz.
It's time for another edition of The Blitz, your Dallas Cowboys report. Bill Jones along with Kyle Youmans, as yes, we are still in our respective home offices. But yes, the Star in Frisco is opening up more and more as we speak. In fact, the coaches are able to be there. More on that coming up in just a moment. Now, Kyle, as we move on into the month of June, we're getting ever so closer and closer to training camp 2020.
It's about time, Bill, because you talk about the virtual offseason and all the uncertainties around this team and around really the way that they've handled the last couple of months. It's going to finally get to the forefront. You're finally going to get to see some of the at least the results of the early parts of this offseason kind of paying off heading into training camp, even though that's even going to look a little bit different.
And that's where we're starting right now with Training Camp 2020. It will not be in Oxnard, California. You know, Kyle, we're right at about 45 days from when that Cowboys jet airliner would be heading out to sunny Southern California. But instead, training camp will be held at the Star in Frisco.
Yeah, 13 of the last 16 Cowboys training camps have been out at Oxnard, California. And while everybody loves the trip out to Oxnard and the great fans on the West Coast, this is a smart move by the NFL, telling all of these teams to stay at your respective facilities. And the fact that it's not only going to be just a better thing logistically, but it's also something that's going to keep your players safer. It's going to keep them around their families. And it also is going to keep them in their own beds and able to kind of have some flexibilities with the ever-changing times that we've been living in throughout the course of 2020. So I think this is just an overly smart move by the NFL, and I think it actually ends up benefiting the Cowboys.
Yeah, that's where I was going next. What kind of advantage do you think the Cowboys have? Of course, usually teams like to have a couple of grass practice fields to practice on. The heat, obviously a huge factor here in Texas, but you got the indoor facility, turf field, the Star. But you also have two outdoor fields. You got a grass field and a turf field. You got to think that the Cowboys have a distinct advantage over everyone else. And keep in mind, they also have that hotel right there. And so it can almost simulate a training camp situation there.
No doubt about it. The two big cons about training camp in Frisco is, one, the heat, and two, the fact that you only have one grass field. But if you compare that to the majority of the other teams in the NFL, the Cowboys have world-class facilities. Now, I'm not saying that all the NFL teams don't have world-class facilities themselves, but there's just another level whenever you're talking about the Star in Frisco, and the fact that you will still have 3 fields. You'll be in the same building as possible. It's not going to have that same feel that you would normally have of having a training camp, but I think it's going to be very close to that. Everything's kind of within reach of the Star in Frisco. You have the hotel, you have the indoor facility, you have the outdoor practice fields. I think it all kind of comes together, and it does end up benefiting the Cowboys, and maybe even an advantage over some other teams in the NFL.
Of course, all the Cowboys players cannot be back at the Star yet, but coaches now can be there. The NFL came down with that announcement on Thursday that the coaches' offices opened up on Friday, and understand Mike McCarthy, the Cowboys head coach, had actually headed back down from where he had been in Green Bay at his home up there and was on the premises on Friday.
And I love the fact that the coaches are returning. It shows that we are taking an extra step to get back to normal. And as efficient as some of those virtual meetings can be, nothing like being in the office. And there's nothing about the productivity that can be had whenever all of your coaches are within the same building and are able to kind of collude together and find a way to get a job done and to continue pushing forward toward training camp in the 2020 season. I think it's crucial that they get into the facility as early as possible and take advantage of that opportunity.
All right, we're just getting started on this edition of The Blitz. Coming up in just a moment, Dak Prescott making a big statement both on and off the field as he makes a big contribution to the police forces around the country.
The Dallas Cowboys Blitz is brought to you by AT&T. Just okay is not okay. And by the Dallas Cowboys Football Club. This segment is brought to you by AT&T. Just okay is not okay.
Welcome back to the Blitz. You know, it's been a while since we've heard from Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott this offseason, but he made a statement in a very big way this past week. And here's Rob Phillips with more.
We all know Dak Prescott is the Cowboys' starting quarterback, but Dak has been involved in a lot of noble causes off the field as well. He's been an advocate for cancer awareness after the death of his mother while he was in college, and now this noble cause. Dak announcing on Instagram earlier this week that he's pledging $1 million to, quote, improve our police training and address systematic racism through education and advocacy in our country. Dak's pledge comes in the wake of a nationwide movement in the United States. The death of George Floyd, the 46-year-old African-American man who died in police custody in Minneapolis in late May, has sparked outrage and protests across the nation, calling for social justice and equality. This has been a difficult few weeks for Dak Prescott already. His older brother Jace passed away in late April, and through his grief, Prescott says he's found a bigger purpose beyond just football. And this is it. Prescott added in his Instagram post that he has the utmost respect for police who passionately protect communities, and he doesn't believe violence and looting are the answer. But he wants to be part of the solution peacefully. We all know Dak is a leader on the field. He's become a captain for the Cowboys. He plays the most important position on the field. The Cowboys are committed to him. He's on the franchise tag, but they want to sign him to a long-term deal before July 15th. It's not just for his play on the field, it's his leadership off of it. And we're seeing once again his character revealed off the field, using his platform for the greater good. For DallasCowboys.com, I'm Rob Phillips.
Just love seeing the leadership displayed by Dak Prescott, which he has showed throughout his career, and really speaking in two ways there. Speaking with his words, Kyle, but also with his actions. $1 million to improve police training and to battle systemic racism in our country.
Absolutely. And this is a time in our country where we need change. You need leadership. You need people to kind of step up and say, I'm not just doing this for social media. I'm doing this to go out and to push something and push and advocate for something that we believe in as a society. And I think Dak Prescott showed that he's not only a leader on the field. We've seen it in a Cowboys uniform with the star on the helmet and the 4 on the jersey. You see the kind of leadership that he's able to show in the middle of an NFL football game. He shows he's that same type of person off the field as well. And I really respect what he did.
All right, well, we continue here on the Blitz. An up-close look at the Cowboys' first-round pick, CeeDee Lamb.
This segment was brought to you by AT&T. Just okay is not okay.
Welcome back to the Blitz, your Dallas Cowboys report. Of course, this offseason, we haven't heard much from the Cowboys players, including this draft class, but Nick Eatman has been one of the lucky ones. He's had a chance to talk to some of them, including first-round draft pick CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb's a guy that led all of college football in receiving yards since 2017. Yet another weapon for Dak.
CeeDee Lamb's one of the best run-after-catch wide receivers we've seen in a very, very long time. When you combine him, rather, with Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup and then Ezekiel Elliott, and just see what we can put together, I mean, when he falls into your lap like that, that's an easy pick for them to make, and they are going to be awful explosive, Scott, out there on the perimeter when we get back to playing football again. There's no question about it.
Hey guys, Nick Eatman here, DallasCowboys.com, and I am joined by Oklahoma draft pick CeeDee Lamb, first-round pick for the Cowboys, 17th overall. Let me just say thanks for joining us here today. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm happy to get some work in a little later, but definitely happy to be in this position.
What is like a typical day here as you get into your first off season with the Cowboys?
Every day, obviously, a lot of stuff are limited, but I kind of get some field work in the afternoon at 6 o'clock every day, and just kind of trying to stay active, stay conditioned. I just want to be as proactive and active as I possibly can throughout this COVID experience and just trying to be in the best shape possible.
I have a feeling your answer to this will be, it is what it is. But has it been disappointing, unfortunate that your rookie year is kind of, or the start of your rookie year has been like this, where you didn't get that experience to be on the stage with the commissioner and this first stuff? I mean, is that just kind of the way things have been so far for you?
Yeah, it's been kind of a bit of a struggle, of a hassle. I obviously wanted the experience to get the full experience that the guys before me had, but obviously with this COVID going on, it's been restricted. But you gotta adjust to anything, you know. But
yeah,
obviously, like I said, I definitely would like to experience everything the guys did before me, as far as the draft and then the post-draft process and all that type, you know.
Yeah. So what has your interaction been so far with your coaching staff, with head coach and position coach as well?
We have Zoom meetings. That's kind of really how we interact with each other, just about every day, and just try to get on the same schedule, same plan, and kind of get up to date on everything.
What is your first thoughts about the offense? What have you seen, I guess, from playbook and what this kind of offense will be like, and does it fit what you will want to do?
We have a very talented offense in my perspective. In any position of the field, you have a great talent. So therefore, I feel like we can definitely have that great prolific offense in the NFL, and our defense is definitely pretty good too. They've set a name for themselves. So I feel like on all three phases of the ball, I feel like we're gonna be pretty good, and I can't wait to the season to find out.
Any of those guys reached out to you and say, "Hey, welcome, let's get started"?
Yeah, I've chatted with Zeke, I've chatted with Michael, talked to Amari. I didn't really connect with Dak yet. Just trying to get respect in the space, and but I'm sure me and him are definitely gonna connect soon. But the rest of the guys I'm looking forward to connecting with when I see him at the facility.
Well, let me talk about this number. I know a lot of people have asked you about it a little bit. You had said yesterday on the radio that you have talked to Michael Irvin about it. Was it one of those things where you had to realize that, hey, this is actually a really big deal? Yeah, you might have a preference with number 10, but once you got the sense of what 88 means, was it one of those situations where you're like, man, this is going to be a really good situation for me?
Yeah, it's definitely one of those situations where, like, the opportunity was bigger than my preference. And I mean that, like, I had the opportunity to wear the great number of 88, and obviously I preferred to wear 10, but that wasn't really, like, for my future. I feel like 88 would definitely withstand a longer, platform, if you will. So just trying to continue a legacy that one of Pearson, I started with Pearson, Irvin, Dez, and I'm me to hold that tradition of it's an honor, it's a huge honor on my end. Tells you the lifelong history of how the Cowboys have developed a great receiver, and for them to see that they have a lot of trust in me that I'm going to be the next guy. Like I said, it's a blessing.
Well, you're definitely one of those players, those new guys the Cowboys are counting on as a receiver and a punt returner as well. Just seems like, get the ball in your hands and good things can happen. Well, CD, I really appreciate you joining this. It's a pleasure to have you. Pleasure to finally, get you here. And I can't say I met you yet, but look forward to doing that as well. So thanks again for being with us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
We are all looking for big things out of C.D. Lamb this coming season. Up next here on The Blitz, can an FCS quarterback make this Cowboys roster?
Now has some room. DiNucci uses the legs, crosses the first down marker, gets down close to the 20-yard line. DiNucci steps up and gets away from pressure. He's going to have the first down.
Quarterback
quarterback Ben DiNucci has known the McCarthy family all his life, as Mike's brother Joe was his basketball coach during his youth basketball days. But now Ben DiNucci has a chance to play for Mike McCarthy and a chance to maybe make the roster even as an FCS quarterback.
Cowboys Nation, this is Ben DiNucci checking in. Can't tell you how excited I am to be part of the team. I'm ready to get to work. We them boys.
There has to be a certain swagger, a charisma, an overall confidence to play quarterback in the NFL. Ben DiNucci, Cowboys 7th-round draft pick, has it. A confidence level that's high enough that you would never know that he played his collegiate football at the FCS level. Instead, you see a fire that is normally seen at the sport's highest level. Born in Atlanta, DiNucci ultimately ended up at Pine Richard High School in Gibsonia, Pennsylvania, where he became the starting quarterback as a sophomore and threw for over 7,600 yards and 72 touchdowns in his high school career. His first collegiate stint came with the University of Pittsburgh, where he was the backup and eventual replacement for Nathan Peterman before electing to transfer to James Madison as a junior. By the time DiNucci was finished with the Dukes, he was in JMU's top 5 for career completions, passing yards, and touchdowns despite playing just 2 seasons. But it's not just his arm that leads the way for the rookie, but his ability to carry the football and make a defender miss each help him translate to the modern NFL offense.
We were scared to wait on you as a free agency. We just drafted you.
Drafted with the 231st overall pick by Mike McCarthy, someone who he had previously met in an elevator in Frisco, and a coach who kept 3 quarterbacks on his rosters in Green Bay, DiNucci will now fight for that QB3 slot, something he is more than excited about.
Crazy how far we've come from the hotel and the Cowboys down there for the championship, huh? Yeah, I'm ready to get to work.
Of course, Ben DiNucci's road to the roster got a little bit tougher with the addition of Andy Dalton following the draft, but there are some lofty expectations for a Cowboys 7th-round draft pick and the quarterback to maybe make the roster. When we come back, we'll wrap up this edition of The Blitz with a special message from your Dallas Cowboys.
The Dallas Cowboys Blitz was brought to you by AT&T. Just okay is not okay. And by the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
Final couple of minutes of the Blitz, your Dallas Cowboys report. Bill Jones along with Kyle Youmans. And as we wrap up this week's show, we leave you with a very special statement from the Dallas Cowboys and from the Cowboys players.
Right now is a standoff kind of right here behind me. They are calling for justice. People of all different races, all different backgrounds, all different ages.
The protesters we talked to didn't care about the curfew.
They're chanting, as you can hear right behind me.
They cared about getting their message out.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
Protest creates a conversation that strikes questions that have to be answered.
We all have these ideas and thoughts about the way we think things happen and go down in the world, and being able to expose each other to how it really goes, that's how you figure out where you can help.
Are we having tough discussions? Yes. No one likes talking about race.
How can we respect each other, have compassion for each other, make change, and then become closer as a community?
Do you understand why people feel that way about cops?
The assumption because I'm black is that I'm a criminal. I hate being stereotyped. It's the same hate I have being stereotyped the 33 years I was a cop.
Just know that we aren't all the same.
Nobody hates a bad cop worse than all of us good cops.
The distrust is there for a number of reasons, and it's more than just a stereotype. It's been our history.
You gotta go around me.
If we come together, if we see our neighbors as we see ourselves, and we all believe in helping one another, that social justice is possible. And it's not only possible in our communities, but it's possible across our country.